Welcome back to Co-Work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM. I'm Catherine Raymock.
And I'm Jane Walker-Wood.
And we're a show all about the modern entrepreneur.
Aurora Winter is here. Aurora is a TV producer, prolific author, and sought-after speaker. She has been featured on CBS, ABC, Fox TV, Huffington Post, Oprah, NPR, Elle Magazine, and a few more. And she is the author of 5 books, including Marketing Fast Track, Ignite Your Marketing. How are you doing, Aurora?
Oh, so great to be here.
You've got all these books in front of me, and I'm really caught by the Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
How did you get in
just
there?
Came out. Well, that is the power of media because they called me.
Really?
So Kelly Sullivan Wallen, who's the co-author with Amy Newmark of the Chicken Soup for the Soul for Dreams book, she said, I read that story in my first book, From Heartbreak to Happiness. She knew me from the media appearances we've both done. She's like, oh, please submit a similar story to that for the Chicken Soup.
And that's a great book if you're going through some grief.
The From Heartbreak to Happiness,
yes.
Yeah. It's a diary of healing, so it is. It's an energy book. It starts out sad, but then, I get happier and happier, and other people can too.
What is the story? It just
the story that's in the
Chicken
Chicken Soup for the Soul books, Dreams and the Unexplained, which just came out in September, is about 3 questions. My husband had died 2 years earlier, and he came to me in a dream, and the dream changed my life. I was still really devastated, and in the dream, he asked me 3 questions. He said, if you had it to do all over again, would you still marry me? And I thought about it, thought of all the good times. I'm like, yeah, I'd still marry you. And then he asked me the second question, which was, if you had it to do all over again, would you still have our son? I'm like, absolutely. He's the light of my life. And then he asked the third question, and this is the one that really changed my life. He said, well, given those 2 answers, would you want to know that I would die young? And that really caught my heart in the dream, and I searched my heart, and I realized the answer was no. And that just allowed me to let go of the whole thing, stop feeling like a victim, and become happy again.
That is so powerful. I'm a huge believer in dreams, and especially for those who have passed away. I have very vivid dreams myself. But, dreams are all about stories, which I know you are all about. And the power of a story to sell somebody's message.
Yeah.
And to that end, you have something called your $1 million message, which really is about creating your story. What is a $1 million message?
Well, just like the story I just told you was memorable enough for her to remember me years later and reach out to me, an entrepreneur really needs a powerful story. And it has to be a story, not just a pitch trying to sell something. So what I want for my clients is a powerful, memorable story. And I call that your $1 million message. So that could be like Steve Jobs when he launched the iPod saying it's 1 million songs in your pocket. Or it could be like Tom's shoes. For every pair sold, a pair is given for free to a child in need. So that is what a $1 million message is, and we have an event coming up tomorrow and the next day, November 2nd and 3rd, in Santa Barbara at Hotel Santa Barbara.
Yeah, I loved your book, $1 Million Message, and you have great tips for business owners to attract capital, clients, and media coverage. Is there one thing in particular that stands out for you as being most important when you're crafting the message?
I think the most
memorable.
Memorable. Well, I'm all about the new science of like neuroeconomics. So you need to dumb it down. Well, not dumb it down exactly, but it needs to be a story. It needs to be like a little film. I know you're a writer also and a film screenwriter, Jane. It needs to be like a story. People know way too much about the product and service, and they come at us with way too much information, and the poor person is like a deer in headlights. So it really needs to be a story, and it's very interesting. The Wall Street Journal published a study, double-blind, scientifically done study that was done that put objects for sale on eBay without a story, and the exact same objects for sale on eBay with a story. And the over 100 objects, the increase in value was 2,700%. In other words, something that sold for $1 without a story would sell for $27 on average with a story. Or this means for your stock valuation, if your company's worth $500,000 now and you have a good story, it could be worth over 13 million. So having a good story matters.
It does. One of the ones that caught me that I read that you had worked with a woman, I think she lost 100 pounds. And at the time, she didn't realize that the story, she was trying to do other things, that she actually was the story, right?
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing. She'll actually be at the event tomorrow. Yeah, she was, even though she had lost the weight, she still carried the story that she was the fat girl. And when she let go of that story, she was just radiant. She twinkled, and now she's written a book called Master's Masterpiece, and she coaches other women to lose weight and to really celebrate who they already are. So the stories we carry can also be curses or blessings. And for entrepreneurs, I think it's a missing component. I deal with a lot of very, very smart entrepreneurs. They're in tech, they're scientists, they're mathematicians, they've got hedge funds, and they really cannot articulate their message well. Whereas somebody with a background as a writer or in film, as Jane has, or in media, as you have, we naturally speak sound bites.
Another thing that's always impressed me about you is how brave you are to try new things. Later on in life, you went and got an MBA, you became a writer, you switched gears from grief coaching to entrepreneur coaching. How do you get the strength and courage to do that?
Well, one question changed my life, which is the question, what if I live to 100? What if I live to 150? And I realized I'd been a little bit coasting, thinking, oh, this is good enough. It's a career. It's all set up. But that possibility of living to 100 or 150, and there's all kinds of scientific breakthroughs, changed my thinking to, oh, well, how can I live and make the biggest contribution right now? And I invite everybody listening, I think it's so easy to just coast. But life is long. I mean, if you're 40, 50, 60, you still have lots of years left to do something new.
Well, that's interesting. When they originally set Social Security as age 65, the average man was living to 66, and women were living to 68. So it was supposed to provide 3 years of income for the woman. And, of course, as you say, now we're living a lot longer.
A lot longer. I think it was about 100 years ago. The average life
retire
expectancy
at
was
65,
40.
there's a lot of time left to do a lot of things.
Plus, retirement is correlated with death. Don't retire.
I was just going to say that. Of course it is. Yeah. I know so many people that they have finally retired and became ill, whatever it happened to be. But the fact is that people like to keep their minds stimulated. And to that end, I saw you the other day. You were flittering around at one of our co-work hubs here in Santa Barbara, Impact Hub, downtown. And I saw you interacting with a lot of different people. So I really do want to talk to you briefly about this co-working model that is working so well and is just taking off. What is it about it?
I think it's more the way that we human beings have survived for thousands of years in a community. It's so easy to be isolated nowadays with your cell phone and Facebook, and you're working at home perhaps, and especially if you're no longer in college, like if you're over 20, 25. So I love the co-working spaces because what I find is you just meet people, you chat a little bit, you see them again, you chat a little bit, you get to know each other. And a good percentage of the people attending my event are coming because they met me, they came to like me, trust me, and they're like, hey, what is this? Your $1 million message training event. Let's check it out. And so I really encourage people to check it out. Actually, Time Magazine reported that being alone is highly correlated with, again, mortality. It's not good for your health to spend time alone. And it's not the same on Facebook. So I love the co-working. It's very easy. And I found lots of people to do business with. I've given visits to videographer, to other people, and vice versa. So it's really great.
I had a very successful person once say to me that he was successful because he was born with the motivation gene. Is that what you have, or do you ever have to make yourself get out of bed? And this is a lot of books, a lot of career, and you're still a young woman.
Well, I am driven. That is true. And what I'm driven to do is to notice what sparks joy in me. So I make a list of things that do not spark joy. See if I can delegate all of those things. And the things that spark joy. I love connecting. I love media. I love talking. I love coaching. I love writing. I don't so much like, bookkeeping.
That's actually a great idea for people to take note of what makes them happy and try to find a career in that.
Yeah, because why would you want to retire from something that's actually sparking joy, that's giving you more life, making a bigger contribution?
Yes. And, we could talk to you forever. I really could. And last time we did because another guest didn't show up. But we do have to go to a break here in just a little bit. Before we do that, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the program when we go through events, we do want people to know it's yourmilliondollarmessage.com/events. If you put in the code IMPACT, you get 50% off.
50% off.
And this is November 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah,
which
so
is tomorrow.
Tomorrow and
Tomorrow.
the next day. And hopefully you'll both come and maybe bless us by speaking a little bit. So yeah, yourmilliondollarmessage.com/event. Use the coupon code IMPACT to save 50%.
Thank you, Aurora. It's been delightful as always.
So great to chat with you, Jane.